The Morgan Report with David Morgan. Discover how to build and protect your wealth at themorganreport.com.
David Morgan with the weekly perspective for the week ending 29 May 2026. Where does the time go? Another month will be halfway through 2026. Onward and upward. So here we are with another weekly perspective. This week's theme is the Age of Distrust. Why smart money is moving before the crowd. What if the biggest investment trend of the next decade isn't AI, artificial intelligence, EV, electric vehicles, or cryptocurrencies? What if it's distrust? Not distrust of one politician or one political party or one central bank. Distrust of the entire system. People are losing confidence in governments, media, financial institutions, currency, and even official economic statistics. And when trust declines, capital moves. That's exactly what we're witnessing today. And again, that is the editorial we just published today for the paid subscribers. And before I move on, I just want to remind everyone that it's a three-step process. Step one is the free information. You just click there. Step two is also free. One is there's two documentaries on this link. One is the Four Horsemen film, which is a good refresher if you've seen it. If you haven't, it's kind of a wake-up call about the end of the Age of Empire. And then the documentary that I produced called Silver Sunrise, which questions a lot of things, especially how much control the money elites have over our lives. And last but not least is if you want to come behind the paywall or sign up for a consultation, you can explore the membership options that we have. So back to the main points. Signals are everywhere. You don't need to read an economic textbook to see what's going on. People feel every time they buy groceries, every time an insurance premium rises, every time the housing becomes less affordable, every time $1 trillion is added to government debt. The average person may not understand sovereign debt markets, but they understand that the dollar buys less, less, and less. That's why central banks around the world continue to accumulate gold, and gold is now the strongest part of their balance sheets versus U.S. Treasuries in many cases. And that's why silver investors are discovering that silver and gold are a way to preserve wealth. And that's why energy security is becoming as important as financial security. Silver matters. Silver sits at the intersection of two powerful trends. First, it remains a monetary metal, although some argue it doesn't. There's votes out there that buy it for monetary purposes, so it only takes one data point to prove the point, and that's one person's buying it for money. Then to them it's money, and it voids out the fact it's not. Now, it's a small vote, but nonetheless, that's the logic. For thousands of years, silver has served as money. In fact, it served as money more often and far more transaction than gold ever has, or probably ever will. Second, it's becoming increasingly important in the modern economy. There's no technological metal more important than silver. Solar power, AI, electronics, defense, grid expansion, silver metal that once circulated as coinage is now becoming essential to the infrastructure as it grows out. Yet, despite the strategic importance, the silver market is an extremely small market. Capital flows begin flowing into a small market. Prices can move much further and faster than most investors expect. That's one reason we continually are searching for opportunities throughout the sector. In this month's edition of the Morgan Report, the June issue, we highlighted a new silver royalty company, a business model that can provide exposure to rising silver prices while avoiding many of the operational risk of a traditional mining stock. Most investors today are focused on technology. Few are focused on energy, and I believe that's a mistake. The world still runs on hydrocarbons. Oil is embedded in transportation, agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and global trade. Years of underinvestment have left the energy sector surprisingly constrained. And if geopolitical tensions continue to rise, energy could become one of the biggest stories of the next several years. History shows that when energy prices rise, inflation tends to fall. And when inflation rises, investors often rediscover hard assets. The real story. What is the real story? Ultimately, this isn't just about silver, and it's not just about gold, and it's not even just about oil. It's about trust. Financial systems function because people believe in them. Currency function because people trust them. Governments function because people have confidence in them. When that confidence weakens, investors naturally seek assets that's down outside of the system. And that's why gold and silver matter. And that's why understanding the macro picture matters more today than it has in decades. At the Morgan Report, we spend our time identifying opportunities before they become obvious. Whether it's precious metals, royalty companies, energy, or the larger forces reshaping the global economy, our goal remains the same. To help investors protect and grow their wealth during one of the most important financial transitions of our lifetime. If you're not already on our free email list, please join us today. And if you're ready for deeper research, portfolio guidance, and actionable items, consider becoming a member. Because in an age of distrust, informed investors hold a tremendous advantage. That'll wrap it up for this week. I've shown you the Twitter account. Just maybe a couple things if I don't scroll real fast here. One is that the CME lowered margins. You see them up and lower them depending on how much interest they want. And open interest has been very, very low of late. And now they're lowering the margin requirements to get more people or suckers in the game. Buy shows us here that major banks in China have lifted restrictions on gold investment and encourage the public to purchase gold to give you some quantities there. I reposted North Star. They do great technical work. I'm going to probably try to get them on a podcast at some point. They're basically asking the question, how does gold look? It looks weak. So what they're showing is it broke this pretty significant uptrend line here. So it broke it right here where I'm showing the pointer, and it's going sideways. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to break down. They showed that kind of the red line there. If it breaks below that, then the probability of it having further downside is pretty strong. A couple other things. I'll be at the Money Show. I think it's in July. I forget the exact date. You can click that on my Twitter account and find it. This is one I just put up. I did an interview with Gold We Trust. I think it went well. A lot of questions I don't normally get. And I just put up this one out of my file. This is actually an Audi. I don't know what year, several years old, but it is silver. It's not silver paint. A sheikh in Saudi Arabia likes silver, so he had his Audi silver plated. And this, you always got to listen to anything. This is my opinion. Catherine Austin Fitz has to say, and she has a lot to say in our interview. So I'll leave it at that until next week with another weekly perspective. This is David Morgan signing out.
The U.S. government debt is about to cross $37 trillion. That's not a typo. That's trillion with a T. Tariffs are being used to try and even the playing fields. Global supply chains are shifting. Inflation isn't going away. And the value of your dollar? It's quietly being drained while no one is really talking about this. The truth is, we're living through the early stages of a financial reset, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. And if you're still relying on mainstream headlines or financial advisors who just tell you to write it out, you could be blindsided when things really shift. That's where the Morgan Report comes in. For over 25 years, David Morgan has been helping investors cut through the noise. He tracks what actually drives markets, from precious metals and mining stocks to global debt and monetary policy, and show you how to protect and grow your wealth when the system is under stress. This isn't just about gold and silver. It's about having a clear-eyed view of where things are headed and making sure you're not caught off guard. The Morgan Report gives you real research, honest analysis, and strategies you can act on, even in a world of rising debt, unstable currencies, and economic uncertainty. Go to themorganreport.com today, download your free report, get informed, get ahead, and take back control of your financial future. Themorganreport.com, because $37 trillion in debt won't fix itself.